It usually starts with something small, the wrong colored cup, a slightly broken cracker, and then, right in the middle of aisle 4, a high-pitched scream pierces the grocery store. As a parent, your heart rate spikes. You feel the eyes of every shopper on you. You try to reason with them, you bargain, offer a different snack, and you plead. We default to these traditional discipline tactics because we assume the child is making a calculated behavioral choice, that they are manipulating the situation to get what they want. But you cannot negotiate with a toddler mid-meltdown. The neurological hardware required for logic has gone dark. A tantrum is an involuntary biological override. The child's nervous system has crashed. To understand why this happens, we have to look past the external behavior and map the internal architecture of the child's nervous system. Human brains are built from the bottom up. The foundation is what neuroscientists call the downstairs brain. This includes the brainstem and limbic system. It is fully developed at birth, and it controls basic survival instincts and massive emotional surges like fear and anger. Above that sits the upstairs brain, primarily the prefrontal cortex. This is the area that handles logic, empathy, and emotional regulation. In a toddler, this area is a massive construction zone. It takes years to fully form. Physical neural connections link these two areas, allowing the logical upper brain to send signals down to filter and manage the intense emotions of the lower brain. Because this upward bridge is still so fragile in a young child, it cannot handle a heavy load. A toddler is biologically prone to losing access to logic the moment stress enters the system. The meltdown sequence begins when a minor trigger, like that wrong-colored cup, causes the downstairs brain to perceive a threat or become overwhelmed. The amygdala, the brain's threat detector, sounds the alarm. It initiates a massive fight-or-flight response, flooding the child's body with adrenaline and cortisol. This intense emotional surge disrupts the communication between the upper and lower brain. This is the concept of flipping the lid. The logical prefrontal cortex goes dark. The emotional amygdala is now running the entire system unchecked. This is why explaining the rules to a screaming toddler yields zero results. Speaking logically to a child whose upstairs brain is offline is a physiological impossibility. At this stage, the child's reaction is entirely dominated by a reactive, primitive nervous system trapped in survival mode. To stop the meltdown, you have to bypass the neurological blockage. You have to act as the child's external upstairs brain and speak directly to their downstairs brain. Lowering the intensity requires a calm tone and physical touch to signal safety directly to the emotional right brain. You are proving the environment is secure before a single word is processed. Labeling the experience, giving the emotion a specific word, begins to shift neural activity away from the overwhelmed amygdala. This naming process moves electrical activity into the brain's linguistic centers. The physiological intensity of the panic drops almost immediately. Once the amygdala feels safe, the biological gate reopens. The upstairs brain comes back online, and logic can finally be applied to the situation. This process of co-regulation acts as an engineered biological workaround, the necessary external support to reboot a crashed neural system. Navigating these moments builds the core of executive function, the cognitive skills required to hold focus, filter distractions, and regulate behavior. This chart shows executive function skill proficiency over a lifespan. Notice the upward trajectory of the curve continuing through the 25 to 29 age bracket. Executive function is a long-term biological construction that takes decades to mature. Every time you guide a child through a meltdown using co-regulation, you are physically wiring stronger, permanent pathways between their upper and lower brain. Navigating a tantrum is the active construction of a resilient, emotionally intelligent adult mind.